one of the more interesting stories about this was that there are a number of investors, large investors, who jumped in as soon as the stock was trading and bought it, knowing that all the Trump fanatics would want to buy this stock, which would drive its price up. And sure enough, it drove it from, in the $30 range up to the $60 range. And then they sold when it hit 60, and now it's crashed down into the low 50s and maybe even the high 40s by now, because yesterday Truth Social had to admit that they just lost $48 million, if my recollection is correct. But this goes beyond that. This theory of this case goes way beyond just the scam. The key attribute of DJT, of this stock, is that it's publicly traded, which means that and also that Donald Trump, owning some 70% of the shares, has to, as a major shareholder, has to give indication when he's going to sell his shares. So all Trump has to do is say, hey, I'm going to sell 1 million shares or 10 million shares or whatever. Who wants to buy them? And in comes, a billionaire from China, or the sovereign wealth fund of Saudi Arabia, or Putin's best friend, and they buy those shares. And it's a way of transferring literally billions out of authoritarian regimes and into the personal pockets of Donald J. Trump. And there's nothing anybody can do about it. I mean, this would happen right out in the open. But this is the problem many people have been talking about for some time, and I don't think it gets anywhere near the coverage that it should. That Donald Trump is now on the hook for hundreds of millions of dollars, and so far that has been to two insurance companies, one not even based in America, one this Chubb, I believe it was, with ties to Russia. The other one, being this right-wing guy who repossesses 500 cars a day, I think I read, or several hundred cars a day anyway. He runs a subprime mortgage or subprime loan company that specializes in used cars and things like that. And this is the guy who loaned the money to Trump. He's kind of a repossession king. But under this DJT thing, under this, taking this company public, company that, by the way, made $4 million last year and, lost $48 million and only had revenue of $4 million. In other words, this stock has no value whatsoever. This company has no value whatsoever other than Donald Trump's name. And the fact that there are people who want to give Trump money, and this is an indirect way of doing it. But what's not being discussed is how easy it is to buy Trump's loyalty. I mean, Donald Trump for years now has been saying China is a problem, China is a competitor, and for over a year now has been saying, TikTok, which is owned by Chinese, and, it's owned by ByteDance, which is it has to be responsive to the Chinese Communist Party, and could be a powerful instrument of Chinese propaganda in the United States. And in fact, the algorithm censors on TikTok mentions of things like Tiananmen Square. So anyhow, Trump had been saying, it should be banned in the United States, or at least the ownership should be transferred to the United States, which a lot of us have been saying for a long time. And then this guy, Jeff Yass, goes down, who's, the largest non-Chinese institutional investor in ByteDance, in TikTok, a multi-billionaire, hops on his private plane and flies down to Palm Beach and hangs out with Trump at Mar-a-Lago. And the next day, Donald Trump comes out and says, hey, I am no longer in favor of divestiture for ByteDance. TikTok can just do whatever it wants to do. Well, as soon as he does that, he's just declared he's in the pocket of the Chinese. And nobody's going, huh? And again, this whole, Truth Social thing will make it much easier for Chinese wealthy people, whether it's, Mr. Yaz, who is just merely affiliated with the Chinese, or whether it's the actual Chinese oligarchs themselves, to own Donald Trump. Donald Trump is for sale. He's been for sale his entire life, or at least since the 90s when he went broke. As his daughter says, he was $8 billion in the hole.